So here we are, it is December the 24th, Christmas Eve. We are nearly at the end of our preparing, of our waiting to celebrate Jesus' birth. And we're also coming to the end of our Bible series, our reflections that we've been looking at, thinking about biblical meals and what that might mean for making space for Jesus at the tables in our homes and also in our hearts. And where does this leave us? Where do we finish with this? Well, we come to Revelation 19, verses 1 to 9. And it is the wedding feast of the Lamb. And I think this passage is such a beautiful image of what is to come. The church made perfect, united with Jesus, the multitudes worshipping God, glorifying him. What a joyous, beautiful, perfect occasion. And I think it's helpful for us to remember that this Jesus that is waiting for his church here is the same Jesus that comes down to earth as a baby that we will celebrate tomorrow. And Advent is a time that we do prepare to remember and celebrate Jesus' birth, but it's also a time that Christians prepare for Jesus' final coming as well and consider that in this time. And as we look to this amazing meal in this passage and this time with Jesus, we maybe look to tomorrow's meal and it seems very different in comparison. A simpler meal, a quieter meal than many of us may be expected to be having at Christmas. And there's lots of reasons, isn't there, that we have space at our tables. Many have lost loved ones. We are in Tier 4, and the guidelines that have come in have made it a quieter Christmas than what was already going to be a quiet Christmas. And many of us, you might be vulnerable yourself, or we're protecting relatives that are vulnerable, and the way that we do that is by not seeing people, and that is painful and difficult. And I think as a church, when we're looking at this space at the table and what God might show us through this, I don't think we envisaged that we'd have quite so much space at our tables. Many of you may know that I personally, a few weeks ago, my granddad passed away, and he had the virus. And my mum thankfully was able to spend those last few hours with him. And as he was there and my mum was with him, my mum looked outside, and I think she knew we were coming to the end of his life. And she looked out the window and she said she saw the sun was coming up, and she said she turned to my granddad and she said, "Look, Dad, it's a new day. It's a new dawn." And she said in that moment he took his final breaths and he passed away. But it was almost like he was being ushered in to a new day, to a new dawn. And as painful and as hard his loss is, there's a peace in that we are ushered in to a new day with Jesus. And it says in this passage in verse 9 that the angel said to me that blessed are those who are invited to the wedding supper of the Lamb. Blessed are those that are invited to this meal. And that's an amazing thing, isn't it, to be invited to this wedding supper. But as we consider what our meal tomorrow might look like, Christmas is also this new dawn. This new day, we celebrate Jesus coming to the world and bringing that hope. In Isaiah, it says the people walked in darkness and they saw a great light. And Jesus is that great light that comes, and the reason that we celebrate his birth tomorrow. And I think although things might be quieter, although things might be simpler than we want, although there's pain in this time, I think Jesus is that great light that comes. And whereas we look to Revelation and we see this meal and we're blessed to be invited, I think this Christmas, as we see that space in our homes, we are blessed when we invite Jesus, that great light, that new dawn, that new day, when we invite Jesus and his light into our homes. and create that space for him and let that light shine out, then we are blessed. And I think that's the encouragement for us today and in this series, that actually when we invite Jesus in, when we create space, even in difficulties, even in painful situations, we invite hope in, we invite joy in, we invite peace in. And my prayer for us this day is, as we invite Jesus in to share in our meals, to share in our hearts and our homes, that we would know his peace, that we would know his comfort, that we would know the hope of Jesus, this new day, this new light that has come as we celebrate this Christmas.